You don't have a mean brain. You have a protective brain that is just trying to keep you safe and reduce your suffering. Now, you might think, safe? Suffering? What? This is not keeping me safe. This is not reducing my suffering. Now, for our agenda today, if you want to quiet your inner critic, we don't shut it down. We are here to retrain it. And my hope is to help you silence that inner critic using science, not grit. Hello, my name is Kimberly Quinlan. I am an anxiety and OCD specialist. I am on a mission to equip over 10 million of you on how to use evidence-based, science-based skills so that you can manage your anxiety. It is a hefty goal, but I am pretty certain I can get there. And with your help, I'm so happy you're here because together, my hope is that I can help reduce your suffering and help you feel empowered to manage your own anxiety. Now, the thing to remember here is the voice in your head isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying very aggressively to keep you safe from failure, from shame, from rejection, and from uncertainty. Now, I am going to teach you 3 specific self-compassion skills to help reduce self-judgment, reduce self-criticism and self-punishment, and to help you improve how you handle situations when things don't go the way that you want. This is going to be a self-compassion plan that you can use. I want you to think of it like a road plan where you move from one skill to the other and eventually arrive you on a roadmap that will help you manage and navigate any uncomfortable moment where the inner critic is taking over. Our goal here is to focus on responding effectively and kindly to that inner critic. Now, the number 1 step in this roadmap is to name it. Don't become it. What do I mean by this? Now, when you have that inner critic voice that shows up telling you that you're the worst or you're bad and you did something wrong and everyone's going to be mad or no one will ever forgive you, your first step is to diffuse from those thoughts. Now, remember, just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. And just because you think something doesn't mean you need to respond to it as if it is true and factual and important. What we want to do here is just name it. You might just say, there's my inner critic. Now, what you can also do is give your inner critic a name. You might call it Martha. Sorry for all of the Marthas out there, but you might say, thanks, Martha. I see that you've got a lot to say again. Or thanks, Martha. You're always such a buzzkill. You can just name the presence of the inner critic, and this gives you a little bit of distance so that you don't have to treat it like it's a fact. You don't have to treat it like it's oh so important. The other thing you can do here is when you name it, you're practicing not personalizing it. When we have a thought about ourselves being terrible or bad or a loser or, all the things that we can say to ourselves, often we personalize this by going, it must be true about me. It must mean something about me. It must be yet another thing that I've done wrong today. Now, there is a term that I use. This is not a clinical term, but it is a term that I use often with my patients, which is called gathering. Gathering is an action where you gather details and data to back your thought up. An example might be you have the intrusive thought or the inner critic thought that you're a loser. Once you have it, if you don't diffuse from it and you don't name it and you start to personalize it, you then start to gather data of why it's true. And you start to go, yeah, and then I was a loser. Remember that one time when I didn't do this? And what about that time? And remember this time? And you start gathering all of this negative data and evidence to really stir the pot of that inner critic. So we want to practice here just naming it, don't become it. We're going to observe it. We're not going to fuse with it. Let's now move over to step 2 of our self-compassion roadmap. Step 2 involves understanding your positive beliefs. Now, hang with me here because this is very, very important. So many times clients have come to me They've practiced compassion. Maybe they've gone to a self-compassion workshop or their therapist has mentioned it. They've practiced it for a couple of days, but within those 2 days, they just fall off the wagon. It doesn't stick. And that's usually because they haven't addressed their positive beliefs about their inner critic. So let's talk about that. What we want to do in this step is learn the hidden positive beliefs about why you believe self-criticism keeps you safe. So let's go over this. Now, in our course, Your Self-Compassion Toolkit, we go through this in depth. I've actually pulled up here one of the worksheets we have where you can start to fill out specific questions that help you identify your positive beliefs. Now, let's go through some of the most common positive beliefs I see in my practice. Number one is that criticizing myself keeps me motivated and driven. Many people believe that criticism is what keeps them going. And I always tell them that's actually not true. Your values to be successful and driven and motivated is what makes you motivated and driven. You're just using self-criticism to get the ball rolling. And we can actually learn other strategies. They're going to be here just in a few minutes to help you continue into motivation and being driven without having to rely on self-criticism. The belief that it's the self-criticism that keeps you motivated is actually not true. The second positive belief that people have about self-criticism is that they believe that self-criticism pushes them to achieve and maintain high standards. Again, false. Really, your values is what pushes you to have high standards. Your wants and your dreams and what's important to you keeps you going in that direction. It's not actually the criticism itself. Again, the self-criticism is the vehicle you use to get you to maintain those standards. Now, what we also find is once people drop the self-criticism, they actually start to realize that the high standards that they had for themselves aren't healthy. And so we can explore that at a later date. But for right now, we just have to understand that criticizing yourself isn't what holds those standards up high and stable. The third most common one I see is that being self-critical prevents laziness and complacency. Now, yes, a lot of people have used self-criticism as a way to sort of whip themselves into getting moving. And again, yes, self-criticism can be a vehicle that propels you into action, but you can actually learn other ways to move into action. The only reason you want to move into action is because you value those things. It's important to you. We can change the vehicle in which that gets you up and at them. The fourth one is that self-criticism keeps me accountable for mistakes. Often we think of self-criticism as a punishment, and we believe that punishment will prevent us from making that mistake again. But I have never, in this case, had a client who's punished themselves so much that they haven't made errors. It doesn't work like that. Human beings make errors. Self-criticism isn't actually what's going to prevent that. Often it's just a small degree of planning and good luck. And so you ultimately here have to give yourself permission to be a human who does make mistakes. The fifth one is that self-criticism prepares me for criticism and rejection from other people. Now, I always laugh at this one because I always sort of screw up my face and I say, so you're telling me that in effort to, get ahead of people who may or may not be criticizing you or rejecting you or judging you, and you're creating a lot of suffering for yourself just in case they judge you. We don't actually know that they're going to judge you yet. And so really all you're doing is you're placing a lot of suffering just for the sake of preparing yourself for more suffering. It doesn't work that way. And I'm sure you're giggling as you hear that because it is ridiculous, but these are the positive beliefs we have. And if we don't address them, you will land back on these behaviors. The next one is it protects me from failure. No, it doesn't. It doesn't protect you from failure. It just makes it harder and you suffer more as you try to do the thing you're trying to do. The next one that's common that I see is that it builds discipline. It builds resilience. It gives me grit. You can't be treating yourself like a little snowflake. Well, actually, no, we have a lot of research that self-criticism increases depression, increases anxiety, it decreases our overall well-being, it increases procrastination, it decreases motivation. And so we really have a lot of evidence that that's not true. So what can we do from there? We can now move on to step 3, and that is to start practicing engaging with what we call a kind coach. If you followed me before, you know this concept. The kind coach is the voice that is encouraging. It is kind. It is warm. It really wants you to win. It knows your strengths and it reminds you of your strengths. It knows your challenges, but it doesn't use your weaknesses against you. It is there to help you win and it is encouraging you. It's saying you can do it. Let's go. Keep going. You can do it. Every single day when I am working and I am doing all the work that I am doing, working so hard to get this mission achieved, I am using the kind coach. I'm not saying, just do it, Kimberly, or you're a loser. Everyone's going to laugh at you. I'm saying, hon, you are doing beautiful work. Keep going. One step at a time. How can I support you? What do you need? Do you need some water? Do you need a rest? Can I rub your shoulders? Oh, my hon, my darling, my love, you're doing so great. That is the kind coach. It is cheering you on every step of the way. And that is the voice I want you to practice strengthening so it becomes your new default. Not the inner critic, but your kind coach is the default. Now, they are the 3 main steps. But now we're going to talk about more of a mindset shift that's going to be required to stay on this path. When we move to step number 4, it's going to be practicing this daily. This is not a one and done. This is something you are going to have to practice over and over and over again. You are going to have to strengthen this practice. And I promise you, I don't make promises very often, but I promise you, you will not regret this work. You must be consistent. Number 5 is really easy. It's never stop this work. You're going to have days where you do default to that inner critic, and that is completely normal. That is a normal part of the work that we do. And so here what we want to remember is this is not about perfection. It's learning how to not get tricked by the inner critic's lies and its tricky antics. It will come up with some very tricky stuff to get you back to beating yourself up, saying unkind things, and punishing yourself. So do not stop this work and continue to be curious every step of the way. Now, again, when you're ready, come on over to your self-compassion toolkit. This is a 21-day guided step-by-step process where I walk you through the specific skills that I have found to be the most effective for my clients who have anxiety, who have intrusive thoughts, who get stuck in panic. I have found that these are the exercises that they have found the most helpful and that I have found the most helpful. The ones that if you strengthen them and you practice and you're consistent, that you can be absolutely shocked at how much you have grown and how far you have come, how confident you have come, how more motivated you have come, and how much it reduces your anxiety and depression when you practice these skills. Now, before we finish up, we must really tune into these core key concepts. Your brain is just trying to protect you, but you can replace that inner critic with a kinder, more compassionate voice. It is possible. Do not give up. As always, thank you so much for being here. I know how valuable your time is. It is an honor that you have chosen to spend your time with me and trust me to be on this journey with you. As always, it is a beautiful day to do hard things. Head over to cbtschool.com And there are so many resources there to help you if you're someone who has a very strong inner critic or you struggle with anxiety, OCD, all of the anxiety conditions. We are there to help. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day.